Bienvenidos. So today we're going to be talking about someone named Ricardo Elicer Neftali Reyes Paso Alto, also known as Pablo Neruda. So Pablo Neruda was born in 1904 in the South American country of Chile. So Neruda was many things in his life, including a diplomat, a senator, and a writer, especially a writer of poetry. So while Neruda has written many things, including prose, biography, essays, you name it, it's his poetry that he's really known for and that has served as his most enduring work. Now, before we get into one of his poems, let's talk a little bit about his early life and how he got on track to become a Nobel Prize winning literarian. When Neruda was 13 years old, he published his first essay, Entusiasmo y Perseverancia, or in English, Enthusiasm and Perseverance. So, when Pablo Neruda was 21 years old, he published his first work titled Veinte Poemas de Amor y una Canción Desesperado, which in English translates to 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair. This collection did really well and got a lot of people to read some of his works and learn about who he was, and it just kind of put him on the map in the literary world. Veinte Poemas went on to be translated into many different languages around the world, and as of today, it still remains the best-selling work of poetry in the Spanish language. Now, going further, you probably remember that really long name I had written out on the board at the beginning of the lesson. Well, the reason that he changed his name to Pablo Neruda was because when he was young and started out writing, his father didn't approve of being a writer. He didn't think that it was a real professional job, so when he started publishing things, he wanted to, of course, be able to publish his work, but he didn't want his father to know that he was doing that. So that's where the pen name Pablo Neruda comes from. Alright, so that we know now, Neruda was a great poet, a great writer, so why don't we take a look at one of his works. So these are two stanzas from the poem Me gustas cuando callas, or in English, I like for you to be still. So the first stanza goes, Me gustas cuando callas porque estás como ausente y me oyes desde lejos, y mi voz no te toca. Parece que los ojos se te hubieran volado y parece que un beso te cerrara la boca. In English, we would say this, I like for you to be still. It is as though you were absent and you hear me from far away and my voice does not touch you. It seems as though your eyes had flown away and it seems that a kiss had sealed your mouth. It sounds a little bit better when spoken in its natural language, and you can really hear the rhythm and the actual poetry that Neruda was constructing when he wrote this. So let's now talk about what this poem means a little bit. We'll start with the first stanza, and then we'll read the second one and go through that. So, when he says that I like for you to be still, it is as though you were absent and you hear me from far away and my voice does not touch you, he's obviously talking about a female or other such lover that he might have. Now what I get out of this line here is that, he is referring to this person as someone who is really delicate and fragile, and by staying still, this person is whole, but yet far away from him, which might also suggest that this person is ethereally beautiful or lovely. Enamorado, as it were. So what we can really take out of this first stanza is that when he says that it seems as though your eyes have flown away and it seems that a kiss had sealed your mouth, what he's saying here is that this person is, again, present in this ethereal realm of beauty, and Neruda is admiring this person from afar and just really taking great beauty from the stillness of this person, and he feels as though if they were to move or change anything, then the beauty of the stillness would be broken. So, the second stanza reads, Como todas las cosas están llenas de mi alma, emerges de las cosas llenas del alma mía. Mariposa de sueño, te pareces a mi alma y te pareces a la palabra melancolía. In English, this roughly translates to, as all things are filled with my soul, you emerge from the things filled with my soul. You are like my soul, a butterfly of dream, and you are like the word melancholy. Now, this figurative language that Neruda is using brings us back to this concept of transcending the material world and finding love within that realm. When Neruda says, "As all things are filled with my soul, you emerge from the things filled with my soul," he's kind of touching on a topic that we see actually in a lot of early Greek philosophy about how all things are one and one is all things. And I think that Neruda is kind of playing around with this concept to sort of create this picture of sorts that him and this person are bound by love, both material and elastic. So this next stanza is really interesting to me, especially with the language that Neruda uses. So, he says, "Mariposa de sueño te pareces a mi alma y te pareces a la palabra melancolía," which in English we know is a butterfly of dream, and you are like the word melancholy. So what does this really mean? Mariposa de sueño and butterfly of dream. So, this is metaphor, and metaphor is something that Neruda was notoriously good at in his writing. When I hear this term, my mind keeps coming back to this really dreamy landscape that Neruda is creating, like a butterfly, a lone entity in this ethereal dreaming realm. And I think that's really beautiful because it appears as though he is referring to his lover of sorts, or this person that he cares a great deal for, as a singular small thing in a greater world of many wonders, that is the dreaming world. Now let's get into this very last line of this stanza. Palabra melancolia, or the word melancholy. So we know that the word melancholy means sadness, but really it's not so black and white as, sad or happy. Melancholy is more of a word that reflects sort of like a beautiful sadness, a weeping gloriousness, as it were. And I think that what Neruda is trying to say by calling this person the word melancholy is that this person is essentially, beautiful sadness. Something that is beautiful, and the fact that it is so beautiful makes it sad. It's sort of like how we are upset by things that, the notion that the good things won't last forever. And I think that if this is in fact what Neruda is saying to this person, I think that there's not really much more better words to say to someone you care about, I think. Now, these are just my personal interpretations of the poem, and as I said before, these are just two stanzas of the much longer poem, but I really enjoyed the wordplay that was used in them. I thought it would be interesting to go into it a little bit. I'm not sure what the official interpretation of this poem is, but I think that's what's beauty about poetry. Everyone can kind of look at it at different angles and make of it what they will. So now comes one of our last questions. Why? Why are we studying and examining the poem and the work of this Chilean guy that's been dead for so long? Let's get into it a little. So we could look at the many awards and accolades that Neruda received in his life. Some of the most notable ones being the International Peace Prize in 1950, the Lenin Peace Prize in 1953, and the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1971. But beyond that, anyone could have a list of awards with their name on them, so what? I think that if we look at the bigger picture, we can see that Neruda's contributions to the Spanish-speaking world, and even the rest of the world, are really notable. His work has been translated into all the major languages of the world, and it's still being read today. I think what the biggest takeaway from looking at the life and works of Pablo Neruda is that Chileans, the Spanish-speaking South American world, the whole Latin community has and had a voice through this man. He was one of the people that broke out and made Latin American poetry popular and got many people to read it. And now, people from all over the world enjoy reading his poetry still. So as I said earlier, Neruda was also a politician and an advocate for different political views that we're not going to get into today because they're neither here nor there. But this culturally significant person was able to start writing as a young man and eventually have his works be read by pretty much the entire world in varying languages. And I think that the fact that this work exists is a testimony to the beautiful things that can come out of the Latin American culture.